during the Colombo Wars, I believe it was, there was a faction of the Colombo family that was Franzese.
Yes.
And so your father, Sonny Franzese, underboss, was in line to be the boss before going to prison. You know, you had that moment with him when he came out of prison and said, like, he got demoted. He got demoted, and you were upset about that. And so one of the things that you wanted to do was potentially, you know, take over the family, so to speak.
Well, it wasn't that, but I felt I thought it was very insulting to my father to break him from captain to soldier. And the excuse that was used was that my father kept getting violated, and they didn't want him to have to associate with anyone in that life that had a record. And if you're a captain, you have men underneath you that you have to take care of. So they did it under the guise they were doing my dad a favor. But they didn't need to do that because, number one, I was a captain. I was also my dad's acting captain. So I met with everybody, and I reported back to him what he needed to know. So it was just an excuse to put him in his place and to put me in my place. And, you know, I was younger then. I was a bit more aggressive, and I felt that we needed to respond to that. And it wouldn't have been good, but I felt we needed to. But my dad said, no, we're not going to do that. Just relax, and things will work themselves out. So, and I listened, and that's what happened.
And sometimes it's not the time to fight your battle. I wrote that down yesterday. Yeah. I love that.
Yeah, sometimes you take a strategic retreat because this is not the best time to fight back. Bide your time, and hopefully your time will come.
And a lesson I take from that as well, from the crime standpoint, is there could be somebody who is willing to now go to prison thinking when they come out, they're going to have, their life is going to be made. It's whoever it was that they work for, whatever the situation would be, is going to be a great one. But it doesn't always work out like that. So if you're going to do your time, because that's what you're convicted to do, and that's what you want to do, fine, but maybe not necessarily do it because you think some sort of loyalty is going to work out in your favor at the end?
No. Yeah, there's a big myth, a big fallacy that, you know, especially in my former life, you go to prison, you come out, and everybody's taking care of you. That's not true. That life, you're making your own way all the time, and if you don't make your own way, you'll suffer for it. Nobody's giving you handouts. You know, the night I got made and I took an oath, after there were 6 of us that night, after that was done, we went in, we had a banquet, and one of the captains, as a joke, came in with a brown paper bag, and he said, "Hey, boss, should I give all the new guys their bag of money now?" You know, and that was the irony in it, is you think that once you become a made guy, you're going to be earning, you're going to be wealthy. It's just the opposite. You're paying up to the family. And if you're not an earner, well, that's on you, you know. You have to make your own way. So you go to prison, you come home, you know, unless it's a situation that I'm not aware of, you're going to have to rebuild your own life. And it's very difficult. Trust me.
Yeah. I love you're so transparent about it, because we talked to some of these other guys we interview, and we asked them, you know, Danny, my brother, will ask, you know, what is something that you regretted in that life? And we've had some pretty interesting answers, and some, I mean, the videos are on the channel, people can watch them, but we've had people say nothing. We don't regret anything. Prison was the best time in our lives, and if we were on the streets today, we would be hustling. And I'm like, that's almost incriminating, almost, what you're saying. But it's shocking to me that, you know, because we hear your story and we know your story, and it's shocking to me that we hear others who would say something like that.
Yeah.
And they've served prison time and all that.
I don't know how you can't have regrets. You know, look, it's, and I don't know if they're being honest, and if they are, they haven't learned much. But I will tell you this, I've said this many, many times. I have fond memories of the guys in that life. I don't have complaints about it. I didn't leave the life because I was mistreated or I had anger or resentment. I had my issues, but I knew what I was getting involved in. You know, this is not, you know, what can I say? This is not the priesthood. You know, you're going in there and it's a criminal lifestyle. You got to understand. But I've always said that it's an evil lifestyle. It's a bad life. And that's mainly because I know how families are destroyed as a result of guys like me being members. My own family was destroyed, not my wife and kids, mother, father, brothers and sisters. And it's true of every family, of every member that I know of that life, every one. So any lifestyle that does that to a family is no good. It's bad. And you have to have regrets in that regard, you know. One of the issues I had with my dad is that he was a person that said, I don't have any regrets because I was framed for the case that I went to prison. And I said, I know, Dad, but you weren't framed because you were a doctor, a lawyer, or a priest. You were framed because you were a street guy. And he didn't quite understand that mentality, or he didn't want to admit to it, one or the other. So, you know, listen, this is a statement that I've made consistently, especially to young people and anybody listening now. Take heed with this. You know, I tell them life is tough enough when everything is going good. Everything is great in your life. You're doing well. You've done all the right things. And then all of a sudden, boom, God forbid, something to your health, sickness, an accident, a pandemic that came out of nowhere, destroyed, you know, how many people throughout the world. So, and you have to deal with that. When you do the wrong thing and you put more baggage on your shoulders to carry around because wrong things have bad consequences, well, life becomes that much more difficult. And so you have to avoid doing that. You have to try to play it straight and do the right thing in your life so that you can deal with life's surprises and life's twists and turns that you're going to come across.